experiences like this, that is what gets you, it
Focus.
gets you focused and gets you on track and in looking in the same direction, because we know what we experience. We know, and our the persons we married to know what we experience. So that's why we are able to, be on this journey in trying to get this thing going, because we know what a blessing it can be to so many lives. So that is a very important aspect and driving factor, so that you guys know that as well. I just want to talk a little bit more about the mom in the last stage. So we spoke about, indeed, she went back to Holland. She got involved in a group. I just mentioned the reform movement. They brought her. They tried to help her, and again, as I reiterate, I believe it was sincere. They tried whatever they had, but the approach we didn't feel was proper and the right way. After, how did mom come back is the important question. Because after being there, after she was baptized, now, rebaptized, or however you would put it, she went back. She got worse. And actually, what happened is that they were afraid that she needed to go to the hospital. She was afraid that she would maybe die on their hands or on their watch. She was bleeding. And that is something that eventually we were called now to come and get her. And that was a painful thing, because obviously right now they're scratching their head, because if she passes in their house and they know they did not have our support and we don't know what they were doing, that would have obviously been an issue.
And we need to reiterate, this was, our mother was lucid, and she was well in her right mind when she took decisions to be at this particular place.
Definitely.
Right? There's nothing that none of us could have done to convince her otherwise. And this is a principle, although painful, God goes through that with us, where
You have to respect the choices.
we have to respect person's choices, and although it's your mom, although it's your child, once they're an adult, there are certain decisions that they take that you have to respect. Although we're trying to break through these barriers to get to her, she was fighting for her life, and that's all was her focus. She was fighting for her life. We could not assist her. These people could have assisted her. So just would like to clarify that for the viewers, that sometimes you are placed in situations that
In
is
a rock
very,
and a hard
very
place.
difficult, and that you just have to respect person's choices.
No, definitely. So that was respect, even though we did not like it, and we felt at times that we did not want to respect the choices, especially when you feel like, hey, these are the last moment that you get to spend with your loved ones.
And I think what was harder for us, because we were a close-knit family, and we could not imagine that this would be her wish. And because we weren't, the communications were being shut down, we kind of felt like that is the problem. You want to be able to know, and you want to be involved, and somehow we were not given that opportunity, and the distrust was there, and the desperation with wanting to know what is happening.
And even with the monitoring of the calls, like if you call and you finally get through, there's just a certain amount of minutes that you could actually speak, and then someone will come on and say she's tired and she needs to do this. And it's just it was very unfriendly to the direct family. So at a certain time, I kind of felt that there was some type of manipulation going on. But that was just my feeling about it. And that was when I decided, okay.
Yeah, we all became very
although it
uncomfortable.
was not an opportune time. Although it was very a very difficult situation, I just dropped everything and just went to Holland.
Yes.
And to get to her.
Yeah. You guys came to Holland. Let's talk about that. You guys came to Holland. You were pregnant again?
Yes.
Or you just
For the final and last time.
okay. But yeah, you and Roslyn came to Holland. By the time Mom was back.
Because at that time, as Luetta explained, we were getting desperate, trying to reach Mom. You can't reach Mom. You can't reach her on the phone. I working shifts, so when I'm able to get out of my shift, I want to speak to her at that time, because then you're going into shift, and maybe when they can get their 2 minutes, I'm not available. I can't get my 2 minutes.
Also, an important aspect, we also had to finance a part of what she was doing there. So the choice at the point, again, we were not financially stable. So the choice was the extra reserve finances is either we send that up for her treatment, or we take that and we go buy a ticket and we go up, and we with all expenses included there. So for the few months, respecting her wishes, we did contribute financially towards whatever needed to do the program, and that was the plan. Okay, this is her wish, let us contribute. But the part where we were uncomfortable is when we tried to make contact. That was not. I felt it was not sufficient for us to be able to
evaluate what the progress was in the.
So we had to break loose from that plan and just drop everything and go up.
We decided to go up because at that time Dad was completely stressed. Junior was stressed. Jovelyn was pregnant and stressed, and everybody was. So I had just not too long ago, because remember with Dad I had to drop my work. I had just gotten a job, and then I had to go back up to Holland, and then so I wasn't really, I don't think my supervisor wanted to hear again that I had to leave again, but they understood it, and that's what I liked. Yeah, they really worked with me, and they saw the urgency. She was there when she was diagnosed, so they allow for us to go up and to investigate, because it was highly unusual. Even if you share the story with others, they're like, but this is not, this shouldn't be. So we were able to go up, and at that time, as Jay was mentioning, they sent her home. And I remember getting into Holland and going by Junior and seeing Mom, right? It was extreme, I find, from when we last saw her to what she was then. It was completely extreme. And I remember just wanting to just stand there and cry, but I can see in her face that she's like, don't you dare cry, because nobody's dying here. And I'm like, you're just seeing sticks and bones, and she still does not want to even
Have the
to think or to no. So, and it for me, I still struggle with it up to this moment, is that you're not allowed to show your true feelings, but you're kind of muzzled, and you're like asked to act a part, or like to play a role in something that you obviously see.
Out of respect for her
Yeah.
mental state at that point of time, and out of respect for her choice. I kind of broke away from it. I mean, you were playing along well. At a certain point, I told mommy, this could be it for you. What do you think of your time here on earth? How are you facing up with with this reality, and are you
How did
ready?
she respond?
Are you ready for this? She just looked at me and smiled, and just shake her head, and just continue in whatever it is that she was contemplating, and didn't really bother to
give an answer.
that
Yeah.
question.
That.
Because I kind of said it kind of forcefully, because I just had the impression that she was not even considering, this.
No.
At this point, at that point,
She wasn't.
where she was totally bedridden. You understand? So it just seemed to me far from reality. I just wanted her to be in reality. So at that point, if there's no communication back to your questions, there's no use.
Yeah.
But that's the whole reason why I didn't, because I realized that when people are facing these type of situation, you can become very selfish, because you can want what you want from them. But it is important for you to accept what you're getting and try to make those moments more worthy than to because with mom, if you pushed, she withdrew.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that, right? Because I was there to give the care. And that those moments are my happy moments, actually, when I go in my mind, and I think it helped me also to cope, right? That I was able to bathe her, and I was able to go on the rebounder and hug her and just jump on the rebounder, and we could giggle and laugh together. So for me, it was more important. I think that was as hard as it was for me to act the role. I felt it was important because I just wanted to just hold her and to be there. I knew it was important for me to have closure, and I was glad that we got that opportunity, because before we couldn't reach her, and now finally she's there, so we can, at least meet and make the best. Don't have any arguments, no frustration. Just make the best out of the moments,
it was really a blessing to go through those last moments. Although they were so precious moments. With her, we got to laugh, hug, cook, talk, laugh. Jump a little on the trampoline. She'd get tired. We put her back in bed. Just pray together. Just brush her hair, move her around, and work with her and keep her warm and stuff like that. I felt that the last few moments spent with family was so enriching for me also. To just spend it with God and with her.
Amen.
And one of the things that I must say that also stayed in my mind and made me realize that this is what it's supposed to be about. No matter how it goes, this is what it's supposed to be about. Because she was able to, Dad was able to care for her. That's what he wanted, right? Dad wanted to care for her, because
she did the same for
her. So you could see that he started to come back alive, and he would she was really, really, in so many ways, the sight wasn't pleasant, and it even had a scent with it. But he would never make her feel uncomfortable. He will wake up, he will kiss her, he would ask her, Patsy, you love me? You know, and just those things to me were just to be able to be there and to experience that really, really meant a lot to me, because I can see her and she's like, this silly man, you know, and at least she had that experience. And you know, me going in the bathroom with her and bathing her, and you know, she would cry. And I can remember her crying and saying, you know, Rosie, and this, and she would tell me, like, you know, she had so much hopes for this, and she's so happy that I was able to follow through on the dreams she had for me. And those moments, I don't think anybody should be robbed of.
No.
And as much as she chose her path and she stick to whatever it is, and she was looking for solutions in her own arena. Yes. She knew.
When we got her back, we did get her
But
Back, yeah.
yeah, and that's I have something to share when it comes to this, because what you just said is very important. I think that is the part that hurt her the most, and why she was even trying to do all the other things. She was trying to do all the other things because indeed she wanted to be a part of this. This is her ideal for us. This, or us working together on a project like this, Mom would have been front and center, and to see all of her children and her in-laws
Cooking up a story.
cooking up a song. You could imagine her being here. Things would have been so, or some of her grandchildren. And for me, that's what hurt, because I saw it, because my wife was pregnant, so she was getting a new grand as well.
I was pregnant.
You were pregnant too.
I couldn't make it out.
You couldn't make it.
That was tough. And Melissa,
That told her. I remember, because even when we had to go back up to St. Martin, Luetta and I, Dad told us to stick together. To stick. He didn't want one person left behind. Junior was up with him. Me and Luetta, we had to come back down.
St. Martin.
And then Melissa wanted to be there. And I think she would have given anything to be there, but Dad told her she needs to stay with you.
I know Mom would have wanted that.
For us to just support each other
Yeah.
in the time. It was fortunate.
She wanted to be a part of what is going to come, so a part of the grandchildren. And then indeed Joveline was pregnant, and then she got Genesis. So Genesis was born in March, and just when Joveline was, it's actually a funny story. Joveline, she had some difficulties even within her pregnancy, and there was what happened? She had a miscarriage. And Mom was there when she got that miscarriage as well. She was bleeding and getting faint and fainting. And we had to carry her to the hospital. And my mom slapped her to wake her back up. But you could imagine me, I'm a black man, my mom, black woman, and if you know my wife, small little Filipina, and we are there trying to revive her because she was get her in a car to bring her to the hospital because she was losing blood and she was fainting because she was going through that miscarriage. And then after that, she got pregnant and she was able to carry it, and then she was about to deliver. And I can remember Mom said, she's going to the hospital.
Yeah,
she determined the excitement.
Yeah, she called me and she told me, I feel like I don't feel sick anymore.
Yes, she told us that. She said, I'm healed. But that was indeed that little bit of adrenaline. And then she couldn't make it the day after because indeed the reality was she wasn't up to par. But I cherish the moments that indeed she did get to see her grand. She did go and hold Genesis in the room and sung. Every branch he had a song. And Genesis own was what was Genesis own? I know the Lord will make a way for you. And you could imagine her singing that and wishing that for herself too, because mom wanted the Lord to make a way for her. But that was the song that she would sing, because we were going through a bunch of stress, a crying baby in the night. She would come in, even in her 6th day, hold the baby and sing that song. She couldn't do it for long, but she did whatever she could do. And man, she was such a blessing. And then just talking about dad, and my respect level for dad rose so much, and people don't understand that. When you can see someone take care of someone until the bitter end. Indeed, what Rosin was saying, she was bedridden. Pampers needed to be changed. There was the room had a certain but dad would just get up, do whatever. People offer him help to do it, he would not take it, and we were actually scared for a bit that he would get sick or relapse and get back into his thing, but he stuck with it, and he kept talking to her, and
we
we
did finally, at the end when it really got tough, made some arrangements for the insurance to come to make the things a little lighter for him, because at that point
that was to the
she really needed the professional help.
yeah, but that was to the bitter end, because
it's just 2 days I think
exactly
before passing. Yeah.
Exactly, because and there's where it was so important for mom, because mom would never have had anything else for any of us or for that. She would take care of us until the bitter end. I'm so grateful that we were still placed in the position to be there in our own home, and that she was there until because she was in the hospital for a little while, which was very uncomfortable for us, because she was in there and then you would visit and you know mom, she can't handle those places, the food,
she doesn't like
she does not like that. It's so uncomfortable for her. So when she got back,
it was pretty sterile in the way that the interaction, the contact. She never experienced had.
Yeah, you had a culture difference.
But in there, no, but I don't think
right?
it had to do with the culture. No, it had to do with the fact that that is not where she wants to be. So, and when you go and you visit her, you will get that sense that like you have me where I don't want to be. I don't want to be here. And I think that of itself, it became lighter when she was able to come home, because at least she was more comfortable there. She wanted, she didn't want to be in a hospital.
She didn't, indeed. So she was brought home, and maybe we didn't speak to that, but I think it's important to mention why she was even in the hospital, because in this whole trajectory and this whole procedure, there was a point in time where she had to make a decision if she was going to go have an operation, right? I don't know if you can speak on that a little before we go to the end part where we were talking about her having her moments with us to the latter end. So can any of you speak as to that whole operation and that decision, and
I think the
did mom want the operation initially?
She never did want anyone standing close to her with a white suit on.
Yeah.
We all know what her position was with that. But the pain was so unbearable that she had to make the choice to at least do something to alleviate the pain. Yeah, lessen the pain.
And that's the way it was spoken. You spoke to her about it,
pain management, so that could go better. and so that she could be lucid to make other decisions, because the pain was just unbearable and governing her
entire day,
her thoughts and her
And she
clarity.
did not want any pain
Her clarity,
medication.
yeah.
Why didn't she want any pain medication?
Because
she
she
didn't
wanted
want
to
anything
stay
to blur
alert.
her mind.
Yeah.
She wanted to be able to pray,
Mhm.
and she said if the medication
not
is going to
lucid,
block her ability to be able to pray. She
So
was a strong
She
woman.
was very strong because a lot of
Very
people,
strong woman.
they made that conscious choice to bear that pain because she wanted to be clear in
Spend
her
that time
mind.
with God, yeah.
And I think that is an important point and why we were able to get the moment we got at the ultimate end. Because I believe if she was on that pain medication, what we are, at least what sticks in my mind with that last conversation, it probably would not have happened. And
What was that last conversation?
let's go there. I just wanted to mention indeed, she did have an operation. The operation was to take out a part of the
Mass.
tumor or mass, right? To alleviate with the pain. That's the way it was brought as well. And they indicated that she should do some chemo or some radiation, but obviously she declined. She didn't want that. She just wanted indeed to take care of the mass, and we were hoping that maybe that would have helped to deal with the rest in a more natural way.
Just before you go for it, I think another reason why she didn't want them to be sedated or have any kind of medication is I remember a conversation that we had that she said, Mel, no matter what happened, never take the option of being in a hospice, because she saw what happened to Auntie Debbie, and she said Auntie Debbie was trying to say something. She knew she was trying to get something off her chest, but the medication had her so out of it that she couldn't speak. And she said she never wanted to be in that position. So I knew that a lot of the things that she was observing with all her siblings, she already made certain things in her, made up some decisions in her mind that this I don't want, that I don't want. And I think that also played into that, in that role that she said, look, I want to be clear up here.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Before we go to I'm gonna save the latter end, the last conversation. We went over saying what was the last conversation, but you guys have to wait just a little bit more, because there's something that I said we would come back to, which I believe this is the moment to come back to it. We spoke about indeed she having that operation, and then she went back into doing it in a more in a natural way, right? And then Ross and you were talking about even using natural things in the situation Mom was in, because of the lack of knowledge. It wasn't conducive for her situation or for the cancer she was dealing with. Now you can tell us a little bit about that. What do we mean by that? What was she doing that was natural, but wasn't necessarily conducive for her situation?
Well, one of the things that, as we discussed, that she loved was juice. And as natural as the juices were, it's usually sweet juices, right? Because the fruits are sweet, and when you juice fruits, you're taking away the fiber from the fruits that are supposed to help to get rid of some of the sugars. So yeah, those are things. She was using fruits that you wouldn't recommend for someone that has that type of cancer. She was trying as much as possible to eat raw, and and I personally think, when looking back, that she had problem digesting. So it was so hard for her to digest all these raw things that she was eating, and she had pain. Every time she would eat, she would have pain to digest.
And that's
So-
why she started eating green papaya, I think.
Ye-
I don't remember. how
Yeah, so
it
she kept adjusting her foods because she realized that something was wrong, and she would read a little bit because she had the book from Mammon, and she would try to read, to search to see what she was doing wrong and adjust accordingly. So yeah, she tried, but I think as I say, because we couldn't help her, there was a lot that I find looking back now, because I actually spend the time doing the research. I can see, okay, this is not, she should not have done that, or she could have done this instead, or
But aside of cancer, to addressing that, in our research we noticed that she had the estrogen levels were very high, right? And even with the food choice, you would choose foods that does not enrich the estrogen, because that was actually the element that was causing all of the problems with her cancer. So that was something that we were not aware of. We were not aware of which foods had. All right, so an aspect that we learned after the fact was that the type of cancer that Mommy had was fueled by estrogen. She had very high levels of estrogen, and therefore the food that you will give to a person in that condition should not be the food that will increase the estrogen even more. We were not aware which food has estrogen and which did not have estrogen at that point. But those are some of the areas that we made mistakes, and we are learning from now that we are going to implement in our the protocols that we're going to implement in our lifestyle center. But just sticking to certain structures and understanding the type of cancer that you're dealing with is important. So lots of lessons learned, and that's something that we were lacking, and therefore the experience, coming out of this experience, there's a lot of wealth and a lot of knowledge that comes with it. Really
Definitely.
thankful to God for also opening up.
Definitely, and that's why assessments are so important to us, and doing thorough assessments, understanding this situation, the background of somebody, where they're coming from, because based on our situation, we know how important that is. A lack of information, background information, and just doing things haphazardly.
Lack of knowledge.
And obviously, indeed, a lack of knowledge as well. It doesn't pan out well. I believe we had a lot of grace with that. God was just, there's a lot of miracle in that, because us not knowing that much as to what, and actually we can't even say us, because we didn't really play a role in that. It was more that his research, and then he had some people around him. He went to Germany, he got his things covered in that way. And then but then with Mom, really was our first time as to addressing the situation, which we bitterly feel. I should say, but we learned. So maybe it's not a complete failure in that sense. And we were talking about the experiences that we had with her, which still make it. There's still some moments, sweet moments, that we can cherish and look back to and say, thank God for those moments. And as we spoke about her being clear and her making the choice to bear that pain in order to be clear to us, that was a sacrifice that we will forever cherish, because now coming to her last moments, I think it was, she was very weak. She slept for a lot of days. She was in pain on and off. And then there was a day that she actually called for a meeting. She and Dad had their personal moments as well. And I believe it was after she and him were able to talk whatever they needed to speak about that a weight was lifted off her chest. And I think even Daddy came back and told me like, if he knew this before, there's a lot of things he could have done, because she was just internalizing a lot of stuff, right? And he felt like a weight was lifted, that he had his wife back. And I could remember him speaking to that, and shortly after she wanted to speak to all of us, right? I don't know if you guys can remember that experience, us and the in-laws. Remember that, and you could speak a little about that, because that was a very intimate moment, the moment that we were, was the last time our mom spoke to us, and she was in her right mind speaking to us.
Yeah, that's
What
the
can
last
you?
time, if I understood it, that she
spoke.
spoke.
She spoke. That was the last time she
That's
spoke,
yeah,
indeed.
because in that conversation, her voice left and it never.
And it never came back. And I don't know. You don't need to share probably the exact details as to what was spoken, but what in that conversation gave you the peace that you have and that you still cherish to this day?
I would like to start by saying that just a conversation and just the strength that she pulled together to even say what she had to say, because at that point she was pretty weak. And every word was caused a lot of energy. So she basically will have to like scream out the words to get it out, so that it would be understood. It was very difficult to even speak a whole sentence, but just the strength and the determination of gathering her thoughts together, and just the energy it took to alter some words of hope was amazing. She just basically said she, always had me in her prayers, and that the Lord, she always knew from her first born that she had a special wish and plan for me, and that the Lord, once I stick to Him, He will make the ways, open these ways for me with anything that I plan to do moving forward. She spoke to my husband, more specifically, and just blessed us, and just told us that she loves us, and I think those are the most important things that I'm willing to share here.
Yeah, of course.
Here at this
Of course.
at this platform.
It was kind of like a Jacob experience, Israel experience, and at least that comes to my mind. And after he blessed his children, he lifted up his feet in his bed and he gave up the ghost. That is actually how it went. And she went down the line, right? She spoke to all of us, and then she spoke to the in-laws, and that was that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
To be honest, I can't recall all that she said, because I was just crying and trying to.
I'm relieved, because I was like, I'm trying to remember, and I'm like.
No, I can remember. I was a mess. I was sitting at the bar, and we were
Sitting at the bar?
in my kitchen. I had a.
It's very specific.
That could mean a lot of things.
I at the kitchen. We were just sitting with my husband, and I was just trying to. I just couldn't. I just kept crying and crying. So I'm hearing her, and it was like you had to say like a kind of screech, and she's trying to. She's breathing labored, and she's just trying to say what she wanted to say to each and every one, and she went down the line, and I was just crying because I'm like, it was real, like real.
Just happened.
Yeah, I can remember, and then again you see what's foremost on her mind, her mentioning the 144,000 with Gerald, and so you can just see her frame of mind. I can remember you were saying that she was having that conversation with you. Junior, do I still get it right about some topic? She was
Back on board.
for still see if she understanding
Yeah,
the
she had
things,
that with her. That
yeah.
She was saying, I know, because we had some conversations about understanding the character of God and His love,
Righteousness.
because I was trying to, at least I saw how she was fearful about certain things, and that was concerning to me. So I was trying to explain to her that, love drives out all fear, and within Christ, He does this work that we think that we need to do. He does it through us, empowers us to obey, right? And that fear that you still have things to do, just rely on God's love for you at this point, and let Him just offer your spirit like Christ did on the cross up to God, and just believe in His word, believe in Him, believe in it, the power of His love, and it is for you. This is your moment to grasp that this particular promise and let it go. So I was trying to so she was saying at the end, she said, yes, Lulu, I understand what you were saying. So I was happy about that, to get that locked in, and that she understood it. She looked at me and smiled, and she said, yes, I get it. So that was important.
Yeah, she loved God, and she loved her family. That she lived for that. And what for me was the hardest was I really wanted her to be more at rest. Coming out of the class, I really wanted her to be at peace, and for some reason I didn't sense that she had that peace. She was kind of like still restless. So how I choose to remember is her to the bitter end, just checking, just keep checking, am I okay? Am I okay with God? Am I okay? And God in His mercy knows the things that we don't. And whatever she was dealing with, whatever she was struggling with, it's comforting to know that God understands. And He will right all the wrongs.
He is the ultimate judge.
And and just want to make sure that resurrection morning, that she gets her wish. That we all there, and her grandkids. I think that's the reason to keep going.
One thing she did promise, right? Make us promise that we have an appointment with her under the tree of life, and that there's where we would find her looking out for us. So that was her final appointment with her.
That's what she
And
wanted.
this was her dying wish. She went down with those thoughts. So I'm hopeful. We serve a fair God. We serve a God that judges us based on our knowledge, based on the opportunities given to us. He's acquainted with our pains and our sufferings and our shortcomings. He understands.
He knows our hearts.
Understands.
He knows our
hearts
motives.
and our motives. He knows our fears. So he's the ultimate judge. So I decided at that point just to leave that. Also, just as I spoke to my mom, just to leave that rest, just rest in him. Rest in those promises. Claim them and just do what we have to do in obedience to meet mom under the tree of life.
I can remember when I got a phone call that he said, yeah, she passed. And the first thing we did was sing that song, Safe in the Arms of Jesus. Every time we hear that song, we have it there.
Yeah. So it's quite an experience. But this is a story from the other side. This is a story from the tragedy side. How tragedy could have been a motivation for us to push through. And even in tragedy, there is hope. That's what this was about, to have you guys experience that. Hey, eventually, what all that we are doing here is in order for people to want to rejuvenate, get well, live to their best potential, and prepare, educate them so to prevent a lot of diseases. But even so, even though, and even if you would have done all that you can, that there is still hope in Jesus Christ. And this is where at least I am able, and I believe you can see it with the rest, we're able to manage and cope with loss. We're able to cope with tragedy. And even though you have seen the ugly cry, you have seen us get emotional, but it's not to the extent in where we feel hopeless.
This is really the first time we're actually sitting
Talking
and
about
talking
it,
through
Yeah.
this on a platform
This
like
is
this, and to this extent, it's very intensive.
Yeah.
You did not actually say what
It was healing. It's healing. It's
her
a
last
part of
words
healing.
were to you. Did you remember?
If I could remember, actually the funny thing is I can more remember her words to my wife, in which she was encouraging her and telling her to take care of her son. Basically, that is more down the line she was speaking towards. To be honest, I can't remember in details her exact words to me personally. I do know, but I was with her for the length of time. So we had a lot of conversation, and I know what she wanted of me, and a lot of the things she wanted me to be a man of faith. She wanted me to stick with Christ, and that has been a driving force for me as to why a lot of people ask at this age, why are you doing so much, why are you so committed into ministry, you're not even a pastor, blah blah blah. But that is it. My mom played a major role because I want to be reunited with her as well, and not only reunited with her, reunited with Jesus Christ, who is the one that created her and created each and every one of us, and the one that makes love possible. So we wanted to share this. It's coming to an end. It's going to be in 3 parts, the way it has been in 3 parts, I should say rather. because of the amount of things that we still had to share, which we didn't know we needed to share. But this is at least a bit of an insight into the core, where it started, why it started, why we are so driven to continue in this ministry and helping people, because we know that there's hope, we know that there people can be helped, we know there's healing in Jesus Christ, and we know that there is hope. So this has been a bit of an insight into the core, into the reasons why we do a lot of what we do in this ministry. We have been through success, but we've also been through tragedy that has shown us that indeed in Jesus Christ there's hope, and He's able to bring us out of the most difficult situations, even though it may not be in the way that we had perceived it, meaning that someone is rejuvenated in good health. But we do know that we can be reunited with Him. My sisters are doing so under the table. You can't see it, but I can. So we're gonna cut it short for now. We hope you guys would have enjoyed and could have taken something out of this sharing. We hope we will continue probably with something else soon and address some of the other items that we did not get to address now. May God bless you, and we hope to see and hear from you soon. God bless.
God bless.
God bless.
Mhm.